I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. My name is Jacqueline Luna. I am the Adult Services Librarian here at the Coronado Library, and we are delighted to welcome Jeeyoon Kim to both perform and talk about her new book, Whenever You're Ready, How to Compose the Life of Your Dreams. Kim is renowned for delighting audiences with a sparkling combination of sensitive artistry, a broad emotional range, impeccable technique, and a uniquely engaging and innovative concert experience. A native of South Korea, Kim has inspired a passionate fan base from around the world. We are so delighted to welcome you today, Kim. Without any further ado, I will turn it over. Thank you so much, Kim.
Welcome. I'm pianist Jeeyoon Kim. Can you hear me okay? Yeah. This was first piece called Forgotten Melodies by Russian composer Nikolai Metner. I imagine I'm a bird flying over mountain ridges, arriving at top of the mountain towards the end of the piece, just about time of sunrise. I wanted to open this book author event with playing piano, which is who I am, pianist, before an author. This is my first book event since my publication of this book, Whenever You're Ready, 3 months ago. All of the book event has been virtual, and this is first in-person event. And this is first author event have this baby with me. So I feel very home and glad to share these two elements in my life in this very special hour with you. Every time before I go on a stage, there's a stage manager holding the door to a stage, asking for my cue and say, whenever you're ready. And at that moment, I ask myself, am I ready? Crushing down all the doubts and fear, creating so much courage and strength within, and I make a decision to walk to a stage. In this book, I collected many tools I utilized as a pianist over the years, how to create a habit, demystifying the talent code, what is important about the perseverance, how to deal with monsters in our head, negativity within and from others, how to awaken your inner child to be more creative, how to connect oneself so you can connect better with others, how to take care of your body. I came to a realization that I'm not the only one who has a stage. Everyone has a stage called a life. My wish for this book is that I come to you as a friend, as a fellow warrior of this war called a life, or playground called a life, as if we are having a coffee and over talking about life. I want this book to be warm, compassionate, honesty, so that those tools are there for you whenever you are ready to embark whatever you wanted to do in your life, whether that's before making a difficult phone conversation, preparing a speech, the hobby that you always wanted to take up. So this book might give you that sense of inspiration and motivation before you make that first step, which is the most difficult step into unknown. People ask me, why book? You're fine as a pianist and you're doing fine. Writing a book has been my dream. I always love that fascinating interaction with authors, intimate conversation without having outward conversation. Giving a concerts, I connect with you, connect with the composer through the music, and I have this deep sense of connection. But with the book, I wish that I could create a connection, different level. Maybe I invite you to come to inside my head. I have a mission as a pianist that is breaking barrier between me as a performer, as you as an audience, by creating a unique concert performance experience. People sometimes call me as a gateway drug to classical music. I guess I accomplished that by doing all those different experimentation, talking on the stage, different incorporating multimedia. I'm a podcaster, YouTuber. So I guess writing this book was part of this mission. Hidden mission is that luring you into a classical music, sharing the beauty as well. I composed this book as if it's a written concert. It has 5 movements as if it's musical composition. Each movement has different themes. Between those movements, there's intermission, like concert. But this is the reverse intermission, because intermission is a place that I share a piece of music that's dear to my heart. And there's a QR code in the book that links it to my live performance, to my podcast, Journey Through Classical Piano. There's also, of course, encore at the end of the book as well. At the end of each chapter, there's exercises that I suggest you to practice on your performance of life. Today's event, it's very much like a written concert. I will talk mostly about the book, the concepts that I wrote, maybe several things that I could share. But I will intermittent with a little bit of concert, a little performance. I will leave about 10 minutes towards the end, so if you have any questions, please answer them. One of the most comment that I get from people is, "You are so talented." Inside my head, I'm thinking, if you only saw how much I work, I don't think you would say that. Life is so much more complicated than just categorize someone who has that magic potion of talent. What you don't see is the behind the curtain, how much effort and work, perseverance has to take to be there. I am 41 years old. I started playing piano when I was 4. I don't really skip a day much to practice, about 4 hours a day. Figure that's 37 years. I don't even try to calculate how many hours that would be. They give you some idea how much work that requires to do anything you do. I believe that though, any ability can be developed over a long period of time, over this lifelong marathon called life. This legendary cellist, Jeeyoon Kim, when he was 95 years old, he probably performed most of the major cello repertoire in his lifetime, and he often performed his cello suite. He's the master of that cello, that Bach suite, and he practices Bach every single day. And someone asked, "Mr. Stucker, you're it. You're the one who mastered this. Why are you keep practicing?" And he said, "I think I'm making a progress." The first movement of this book, it's called "Practice Until Practicing is Part of Your Normal Life." You would think I practice so that I can play better on a performance, but it's not true. Performance is just a resting stop for me. Celebration. It's joyful to share music with you, but I perform as if that is practice. I practice as if that's a performance. The two realms are blurred in my notion. I practice because I love playing piano. The goal for me is continue doing what I love every day, not to get to a destination and done with it. That never done attitude, like Mr. Stucker. At some point I was really frustrated. If I practice that many years, that many hours of practice, can I say I got this? But every performance shook me from the bottom, from the core, that as if I don't know how to play piano. I think I don't know how to play piano. Raw, vulnerable, scary. I wish that at some point I could say, I got this. And that day never came, and I now know it will never come. It was really frustrating at first, but now I discovered, you know what? It's so wonderful that there's a room to grow, always. I'm looking forward to that performance, that raw performance gives me that sense of discovery, sense of newness, sense of treasure that I discover along the way. So it's much rather a relief for me that there's no end to it, and I can keep going. I remember when I was 4 years old, I walked to this piano institute every single day. Now I think about it, that was my task a day. No one took me there. I just walked every single day. That's about for 30 minutes of piano institute, but I walked maybe a block or two, but it felt like miles for 4 years old. What I realize now is I developed a lifelong habit that is practicing piano. Just every day now, one time that I don't even think about when I practice is after breakfast. If I have to think, when I would have practiced each day, I don't think I can ever practice because there's other things that I should be doing. There's other tasks. So I emphasize creating a habit, that is creating a system, and forget about the goal, but just live it in that system. So it's not that I have more willpower than you, but actually a habit that is pushing me move forward. People think that because I love playing piano, practicing piano is always fun and joyful. I don't think so. It's always there's a resistance. Maybe I can just lie down a little bit more. Oh, maybe there's more that beautiful day outside. Piano is indoor thing. So each day, that gives you a comfort. Each day, I fight. But then my body's already on the piano because I've created the habit. So before I feel it, I'm already practicing piano. When I play piano, I'm getting into it. My point is that creating a habit helps you to get rid of friction. And I don't have to think about when. So I suggest all my students, piano students, that said, how can I create a habit? I say you start very small, tiny. If you want to develop reading more book, then open a book and read it one sentence might be your task for next 21 days. That's 3 weeks. I suggest maybe something like this little paper and draw 3 weeks in the box and write a goal. But start very tiny. And the goal is consecutive 21 days. If you ended up going for 7 days and you skip the day, you have to tear this paper out and start over. Until you consecutively can do 21 days. Then one of the tactics that I suggest is print out, just Google it, 66-day habit calendar. That's available everywhere. Everybody create these fancy calendars. People say create a habit takes weeks to years depending on you. So I can't never say after 66 days you are guaranteed. But that's more proven number. If you can do one thing consistently for those numbers that they say it more likely will stick with you. So I suggest to then, after 21 project is over, start the 66-day project. For then, it's consecutive is not as important. It is, I advise to not to skip, but if you have to skip, apply 2-day rule, which is if you can skip a day, you cannot skip 2 days in a row. That gives me a little gentle pat on my head, shoulder that it's okay sometimes to skip, but tomorrow, let's get back on it again. So that's my gentle reminder of me pushing, keep going. If you have anything that you wanted to include in your life because you love it, I believe that love is what you do, how you exercise that love. The feeling come and go. Even if I love piano, sometimes I wish I could take a year-long vacation. And then I come back to it. The feeling always comes and go. I don't believe my feeling, but I believe what I do. And by doing it, you develop the feeling over time that no one can take away that love from you because of your relationship you build with the very thing that you want to include in your life. So if you have that in your life, start doing it. How? Maybe those tactics that I suggest might give you the opening, the first step into that. I'll play one musical piece at this point, Fantasy Impromptu by Chopin. Chopin, to me, is universal language that I don't really have to say much, and you will understand what he means. He has always conflicted duality in it. You will say, you're happy, but also sad. You are smiling, but your eyes are crying. You are saying yes, but your eyes say no. Chopin. a concert pianist is a very vulnerable position. There is a profession called music critic. Their job is to criticize me. There's other people, negative people, they're naysayers, criticize what I do. There's monster in my head, also say negative things. I call them monsters, those. I had a concert in early 20s. I vividly remember. I had some memory mishap. That was very minor mistake in the big picture. But ever since that mistake, I had a World War III going on in my head. The monster is saying, oh my gosh, you're gonna make another mistake, that's horrible. Oh, how could you make that mistake? And the angelic voice say, it's nothing, you're doing great. You're nothing, just enjoy it. Those fights were constantly bothering inside of my head, entire concert. After the concert was over, I was exhausted and desperately had to find a solution. Because I love playing, I love piano, but I can't deal with this battle every time. This is unhuman, unhuman realm of the battle. I realized that I'm not the monster, I'm not the angelic voice either. I'm a mere observer of those. My job is let them do whatever they do, and my job is to focus whatever in front of me. I realized monster in my head will never go away, but I can tame them. I started to write what my monsters was talking after, before the concert, writing down everything. And also I defend that sentence, 1-to-5 ratio, 1 monstrous voice to 5 angelic voice. If I say, oh, I'm afraid to make a mistake. If for them, the monster says that, I write it down, and my lawyer defender of angelic voice have to say, you will enjoy it. Everybody will love it. You're a beautiful musician to share beauty in this world. You're excited. Today will be amazing. I just combated it. Talking to a monster in our head is very interesting. That tells a lot about ourselves. That voice might come from your childhood, from parents, from friends, from episode in the past. Arguing sentence by sentence, eventually you realize how this sentence of voice is ridiculously unfair and silly. For me, daily journaling has been a lifesaver. It strengthens my thought muscles. You know, we lose our actual body muscles each day, so is our mind muscles. So I need a daily maintenance of those muscles as well. If we don't do anything, I think we're all prone to be more negative than positive. So I have to combat that. In my journaling, daily journaling, it includes affirmation sentences, about 5 or 6 sentences, the characteristics that I already am, the great strengths, and the characteristic that I aspire to be, or things that I want to do, or things I already aspire to do. Write them over and over again, sometimes say out loud. I suggest you to try that for a month, each day, and see what happens to you. Nothing to lose. I also do a lot of visualization, writing down every detail of upcoming concert in the best scenario, up until stage manager holding a door say, whenever you're ready. I would write, I wake up 7 o'clock in the morning, beautiful morning. I eat crisp apples, drink green tea, feels great. Today's gonna be wonderful. Whatever that is, I write it every detailed scenario, the most positive, perfect day until that I walk to the stage. I also write free-form writing. Whatever it just bothers me or whatever comes in my head, I just write it. Just get it out there. I think writing is giving a clothing to your thoughts. Once you start to write it, then it gets more simpler. And it's a very creative process. I highly recommend it. Also, I write, what would my today create? That's not like laundry list of to-do list, but more of a one thing that I want to mindful of. Maybe I would write it, if I close my eyes and breathe mindfully for 5 minutes, that will make my today great. I also make sure to write 3 things I'm grateful for, so that I'm in check with my life, that how amazing this life, that this gift is to me and to everybody. At night, I sometimes write or sometimes I think about what one amazing thing happened today. I think I'll write about today of this event. Also, I think about or write what time I will wake up next day, what will be the first thing I will do. Journaling is help me to create inner coach within me. The gentle, compassionate coach. I realized life is not easy. Even if you have a partner, you have a close friends, at the end of the day, we have to pick up ourselves. No one is gonna always tell you it's okay. So whenever I create this inner coach who will tell myself, Jeeyoon, you're doing great, excellent, beautiful. When I'm down or when I'm a little sluggish, then like, hey, come on, let's go. And that balance between the right feedback to be gentle is the balance that I'm trying to find. But I create it, so I want my coach to be most gentle and compassionate, but give me a right direction. So I highly recommend you to develop your own coach. I highly recommend try to write whatever shape or form, not on your phone, but actually pen and paper, old-fashioned. I will play one more piece here at Brahms 118 Intermezzo. This is Brahms' way of writing a diary. I would call it as a love letter, but it's not meant to send because he wrote it on his diary. Because of the character, he poured every emotions in it. There's sorrow, heartbreak, longing, but equal amount of love and joy. Brahms. People often ask me in the past, when are you going to play at Carnegie Hall? I grew up in that icon, but I have to admit that I never think that as a dream. One day, about 4 years ago, a friend of mine went to concert at Carnegie Hall for this great famous pianist called Michiko Uchida. She bought a postcard of Carnegie Hall picture and asked her after a concert, "Can you write 'Why Not' for my friend?" And she gave me, after she came back from New York, "This is for you." Postcard in Carnegie Hall and say, "Why not?" And say, "Okay." And that evening, I looked at that postcard for a while. You know what? It would be wonderful to play at Carnegie Hall. That would be amazing. I started to dream. Little bubbles inside of me. I was excited. It would be amazing. The next morning, 6 o'clock in San Diego, 9 o'clock in New York time, call Carnegie Hall and ask, "This is a little awkward. I'm pianist Jeeyoon Kim. I was wondering how to play there." And also realizing how ridiculous it might sound. Also wondering how many people actually call this office asking this question. But this lady was very much like office-like and did not say practice, 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 but say, you will need a right presenter to present to you. There's the forms that we have to check your credentials. Whatever that was, there was a laundry list of the steps that she told me. And I said, thank you very much, and hang up. And after I hang up, I felt a sense of empowerment within me. But playing Carnegie Hall was not a dream anymore. It was a step that I just have to follow. 2018, December 14, I walked to a stage at Carnegie Hall, say to the audience, first thing, welcome to my dream. I ask my piano students, what is wildest dream that you can have in piano? And when I ask that question, they're all, I don't know, I can't. Come on, you don't have to tell me, just write it in your diary or just think about it. Can you think about the wildest dream that you could have? They have a hard time, including myself. We put ourselves inside of the box. Without anybody telling you that box, you create that box and telling this is the box that you're gonna live in, not beyond that. I believe dreaming is a muscle. We have to exercise that muscle. More you do it, actually gets easier. And you get to crazy dreams. I also want to emphasize that you have to think about the first tiny step. For me, was calling to Carnegie Hall the next day. That was my first tiny step that I could make. Dreaming points you in the direction that you want to go. The first step is allow you to move forward towards that direction. Don't be discouraged if this dream, while this your dream, doesn't come true in the near future. It's still a wonderful dream, and let yourself loose and head to a new direction. You can always slow down or pause in life. Speed is not that important, but sense of direction is. Ask yourself, what would you do if there's no possibility of a failure? Then change that question to, what's worthy of doing even if you fail? And think about that question more often. I don't think I'd play in Carnegie Hall if I didn't dream. I don't think I wrote this book if I didn't dream. So let yourself outside of the box and start to dream. 30 minutes before a concert, you will find me meditating. That time I don't practice, I don't think about music. I try to focus myself into present moment. I long for mental clarity on stage, off stage. Meditation practice has been my practice, a tool for me to practice the sense of being now and appreciate the moment. I can never know, I wrote many of tools in this book, but I can never say numerically, because I meditate, my life is 10% better. Because I do journaling, my life is actually 50% better. I can never say it to you. But compound effect is there. If I do all these right tools that works positively, somehow life feels easier, gets better. Meditation helps me to be aware of my own thought, emotions, so that I don't become a victim of my own emotions and be more present. Being more present and appreciate every single moment of my life is my goal. That's how I strive in my life, on stage, off stage. Every time I go on a stage, I think as if this is the last concert. If this is my last concert, what to worry? What to care? What to doubt? Just go out there and enjoy. That's how I encourage you to be more aware, enjoy this very moment. I am no other place but right now, here with you. I will finish this event before the Q&A, one last piece that I invite you to forget this time, forget this space, and follow this music, and be with me here and now. Handel Chopin. book myself. It's available on Audible. I brought a couple of copies so that you can have autographed copy or Christmas present idea. I don't know how you learned about this event. This is kind of a hidden event for my followers, I think, or a little unfamiliar, like author talk. But I'm so glad you're here. If you're not already signed up in my newsletter, please do so. There's a sign-up sheet, or come to my website, jeeyoonkim.com, or sign up, and you will get notified when I give being a concert pianist and give a concert. One major one is coming up in La Jolla in April 24th in Conrad Concert Hall. That is the best concert hall, classical music anyway, in San Diego. It's just built 2 years ago, so you will experience very luxurious experience in that hall. So I hope to see you there. And also tune into my podcast, Journey Through Classical Piano. And I love the medium. It's very intimate, and it's an ongoing conversation that you can have with me. So if you have any questions, this is a time. Yes?
As a 4-year-old, what either brought you to or pulled you into the piano?
I often think about that. Did I choose or piano chose me? One thing for sure, my parents was never pushy. They just brought me into the entrance of the piano the first day and never again. I was always a musical kid. I sang, I play flute. The classical music world is very competitive. You make one mistake, you're out. That's that kind of environment is still at this day. So in that severe environment, I still managed to just have fun and not too caught up with that competition between others. And soon I realized 99% of my friends, fellow pianists, doctorate degree, doesn't matter, art high school, they stop playing piano. They also play 4 years old up until 20-something for a long amount of time, as much as I did. So I'm so grateful that I pace myself and know that this is a lifelong journey. And I'm so glad my parents never pushed it. If they actually asked me to practice, I don't think I could do it. They never say it. They're like, do whatever you want. And I'm like, well. So my choice was always my responsibility too. And I'm very grateful my parents that gave me that freedom and at the same time responsibility from the early on. And I actually walked to Piano Institute on my own. Nobody took me there. All the choices I made in my life, I don't think there were any saying in it. I always informed them afterwards, so that really gave me a courage in being an independent person and independent musician.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yes?
No, go ahead, please.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay. So now, as a 56-year-old kid, which is me, I have more time, and I'm doing things that challenge me. And so, one of the things I want, that's one of the reasons I came. I saw this on Facebook, and I said I want to go give a play or whatever. What would you suggest in embarking on this? I play trumpet, I sing, so I'm musically inclined, but I never learned to play. And so what would you suggest? Because I have a lot more time.
Oh, yeah. That's always a big question. If your money is not a question, if time is not a question, what would you do, right? But that question always, I think it doesn't matter where you are. I think we always have to get that question and follow what is that small voice in you says. And luckily to you, the small voice says, I want to do some music, right? So that's really great place to be. Earlier this year, I took small voice said, why try surfing? Out of all things, I've been living in San Diego for 5 years, and I'm a very good swimmer. That gave me courage to embark that surfing journey. You don't really see as right now, but I have a broken nose from surfing. I had a foot injury, but to make a long story short, I studied April. The first thing people said, "Oh, surfing is fun. People will tell you what to do. Just come in with the board and enjoy. Just enjoy." No. I was like, no, that's not how I function. I hired professional female surfer. I read a book about surfing. I watched so many YouTube videos. I still do, and I know who is I like that style. I collected on my own knowledge, but I also make sure that I get right feedback. Being a musician, it's you become your own coach, which is a daily practice that you develop that. But you do need someone professional to tell you, the guide. Otherwise, you're swimming in the ocean like, oh, I'm having fun. I think there's different kind of fun. The joy that I find is that I feel I'm progressing. I enjoy so much surfing because there's no way to go bottom. I just don't know how to do it. So there's only ways to get better. And that improvement gave me a lot of joy. And I think you already know you love music. I think the next step will be find the right mentor, right professional musicians to give you a tip and stick with it. I have a student who is 70 years old, started as 70, and now he's late 70, and people would think I'm done after 65 for some reason. But that's a great place to start. And think about it, if you keep doing it for 15 years, you will be rock and roll in retirement home center. Yeah? So time is not matter. Again, the speed is not relevant. But direction is, and you do have a direction, but you do need a good mentor. And I just think about it as at least 15 years of a journey. Don't be discouraged after a month or a year. Oh my gosh, I'm supposed to be doing something that's supposed to really would be toxic as a musician that I practice a whole life. I'm not supposed to X, Y, and Z. I felt really frustrated after doing 3 months of surfing. Is it about time to pop up? Is it about time that I'm rock and roll and surfing? And it wasn't. And I got frustrated tremendously, and I realized, I know this skill. I have to reprogram, reapply what I learned from piano all over again. I was not expert of all the things I wrote. I have to reapply. So the point is that everything we do embark on new journeys, exciting, but it requires perseverance, without any people saying to you. And you only need the professional feedback. Other than that, don't listen to other people saying. Just follow and exercise your love every day, and not having a destination to go. But if you're making music for 2 hours each day, like, hey, that's awesome, right? So just enjoy in the moment, but have a right feedback and right mindset, become a lifelong learner.
I saw you surfing in Germany with Anthony.
Great, thank you.
How did you develop such a concise presentation and conversational dialogue?
Thank you very much. That means I was concise in the conversational dialogue. This is over the years, I realized that when I talk on stage, people respond to music at least twice or 3 times more. I could not help not do that once I realized that. I was in academia for a long time as doctoral students, until late 20s I was in school. So all my audience was professional pianists and teachers, and I had no sense of real life. Once when I get out of the life into real audience, they don't know each Beethoven sonatas and what opus number is, and all those details that we all musicians are, I made that simple trill mistake, and that's not important. Important is connection. Important is to deliver this beauty of music. I am a UPS delivery of the music. This gift for humanity from heaven. So I do this job better when I connect with you. And when I connect with you, I find that people can bypass me and get to music much more easily. But because you understand me, so then you don't think about for me, but you actually think about you and the music, which was very revelation at some point. And then, English is not my main language, but I still managed to write a book. I still talk. So I have to overcome many of insecurity in that too, right? But then again, with Korean accent, communication is more important. And I realized if I have my English completely perfect, everything, versus a little clumsy, a little maybe English mistake here and there, maybe help you to put your guards down. So maybe at the end, I'm not perfect at English, maybe helps me. I don't know. Possibly, but I can't change who I am, so I just accept it as a strength. So I practice what I would say. I practice, is that relevant? I didn't come in here, okay, what I'm going to say, okay. Wasn't that. I thought through. Of course, in the concert, also things that I say, I thought through many times, just as much as I practice on piano. Start with the 20 sentences, but I ended up saying 3 sentences. It's become poetry. When I say for this more longer talking today, but it's the same idea. Is this relevant? Is this exactly what I want to say? Would that come across? Maybe there's many sentences I could get rid of it if I practice. But again, this is my first time, and I'm looking forward to do many more of book concert next phase of my life. And this book interests me open a new chapter of my life as a pianist, because people just read a book without realizing I'm a concert pianist, and who's Jeeyoon Kim? So what is classical music? So it opens the door to them, and it opens the door to me, to the audience, that they will never come to classical music or get to know me. So I'm grateful.
2 questions.
Mm-hmm.
One is, how long did it take you to write the book, like from the concept to here it is? And secondly, tell us about the cover. It's beautiful.
One day, again, I woke up and said, why not write a book? That means I crushed my doubt finally. The doubt of, I'm a pianist, I'm not an author, what do I like, Would people read it? Is an author is some DNA in you that are the people who are supposed to write? But one day I thought, will I enjoy writing? Yes. Will there be one person who will benefit from this book? Yes. Then why not? So I started the journey of writing. When I started to write it, I was surprised that this was so organically, everything was in it. This is not, all of a sudden I'm going to write a book and then think about what to write. Everything was I thought through all my life. So actual writing was 3 to 4 months, intense. I had an accountability person who's editor, the main editor of the publisher, and we meet every week, and she said, I work with a lot of authors, but no one like you. No one actually come back with writing each week. How do you do it? You're like, I follow my formula, what I learned. And so it took 4 months about it. Keep writing every single day. This is about 65,000 words. I did about 1,500 words at least a day. And I didn't skip a day. And I always walk 2 hours before I write. So those 2 hours, I just think about it or not think about it, just the thoughts hovering in my head. And then when I sit down and I just have so much to say, and I stop, even though I could write a 5,000 word, I stop just about 2,000 and see looking forward to tomorrow. What would I write? You know. So a lot of it is more time in my head, but actual writing didn't that take long. And because of that reason, I think my book was very intuitive. I was surprised, like, did I write this? How did I even thought about this organizational movement? And felt like someone else was writing using me. It was very interesting experience for sure. And the cover is, from the very beginning, I concerned about the cover because I want this book to be beautiful, pleasing to your eyes. So then when I come up with the title, I worked with the designer of the publisher, and we need a piano keys for sure, you know, and but not black. It doesn't have to be black and white, maybe colorful. And I like the white background as clean, and this is almost like a treble clef, the music symbol. And I like the welcoming and inviting emotion through the cover, and I think I accomplished that. And every single decision, now I look at the books, I look differently, because the decision of when I open it, it will be yellow. That's also another decision. When you actually cover it, that's teal. This is a gray. That's every single decision was
So
made.
where do you have them? Because I went to the bookstore and they were sold out in La Jolla.
Oh, La Jolla. I think is that Warwick's?
Yeah.
Yeah, Warwick's now have it.
Oh,
I think,
yeah?
yeah.
Okay.
And it's everywhere. I mean, however you consume books, Amazon and Barnes and Noble. If they don't have it, because this is nationally published, and you can request it, and they will ship it to you, kind of thing too. And I want this book to be a hardcover. That decision also made. You know, I think this is like a funny that felt like it's my baby. You know, some ways. But then I let it go. Every time I see this one in a bookstore, it's another part of me is there, but I don't own you. It's owned by you. You make this one yours. I was part of it, but now I let it go. And for me, this is already amazingly beyond belief successful, because there's at least one person already told me that how impacted to his life, and because they gave me so much to my life already by writing it. And it's basically I sliced in half and seeing 41 years of Jeeyoon this moment. And when I look back on it, that was my best. So I like the cover. I hope you like it too. But at the end of it, it's important that I'm happy with it. So I'm very much happy with how it came out, and it catches my eyes, but I lose that sense of objectivity at this point. So you tell me. All right. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.